How did you join EkStep and how did you do that?
2009, I was part of the startup team at Aadhaar. So after Aadhaar, think of EkStep as a continuation
Yeah.
of that larger idea of population scale transformation of India
Yeah.
enabled by technology.
You were familiar with AI before, but ChatGPT was brought in and everything changed.
To use the Hindi phrase, my reaction was "Oh teri."
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, right?
Yeah.
And then Nandan responded to that by saying, "Hire this bot."
So when will we have a product company then from India coming, like something going global?
People ask me this question: when will we see a Google out of India? I would ask, when will we see Aadhaar out of US?
Because my next question was, when will we have the Aadhaar moment for AI in India?
You know, I find this funny.
Are you building for both AI for India, AI for Bharat, or is there more inclination towards something?
At population scale, you have to do both.
Yeah.
You have to solve for inclusion and innovation. Large scale problems in a diverse country like India needs all three pillars of society to come together. Sarkar,
Yeah.
Bazaar, but as important is Samaj.
DPI to the power of
Yeah.
AI. So what exactly does it mean?
Have you used DigiYatra?
Yeah.
That's because AI has been added to Aadhaar. So AI will reach corners of this country faster because of DPI has laid the roads. If a country does not have DPI, it's only AI.
Yeah. So is there any flaw in UPI that you find maybe that can end it, or maybe a better product after UPI?
Let's think of it as the next version of UPI,
Okay.
right? And that's where AI can help, which is...
Welcome to another episode of What's the Point? And we've been trying to get in touch with someone from EkStep for the last 2 months, I think. And finally, I have the opportunity and the privilege to sit with Shankar, who's the CEO and co-founder of EkStep. Thank you so much, Shankar, for joining us here. And we are at EkStep office as well. So how have you been, Shankar, and how has Bangalore been treating you? It's been raining a lot lately.
Yeah, it's good. I'm good, thank you. And Bangalore has been treating me well for more than the 20 plus years I've been here now.
Yeah.
And this, I guess, is the beauty of Bangalore. When the rest of the country is sweltering in heat,
Yeah.
we can have a steaming cup of chai and get into a blanket at night. If you leave the traffic out, it's not a bad place.
So we were talking off the camera as well. I didn't know that you were not from Bangalore, but you lived in so many cities. Which would you call is your home?
Yeah, good question. So this is the 7th state I'm living in, and I'm actually from an 8th state.
Okay.
And so yeah, my father was in a transferable job. Then I went to multiple college, higher education, etc. Worked in Bombay, Delhi. But for the last 20 plus years, ever since I switched from a corporate career to becoming an entrepreneur in 99, 2000, that's when I shifted to Bangalore. And that's when Bangalore became home.
Yeah. So that company you started, you were telling that you also sold it.
Yeah.
So what was that company about, and how did you join EkStep, and how did you do that?
Yeah. So that company was called MarketX, which was short for Marketing Analytics.
Okay.
That was at a time when the more prevalent words were BPO and KPO.
Okay.
So in some sense, we were pioneers. And in the usage of high-end analytics and in providing analytics-based services to the top-tier Fortune 500 companies around the world out of India, Bangalore.
Okay.
So we were self-funded, but we grew very quickly. And then 2007, at the height of the boom, we sold our company just before the crash. So
makes sense.
that's when we exited in 2008.
Okay.
2009, I was part of the startup team at Aadhaar. And I had the privilege and the responsibility of naming it Aadhaar because of my marketing background, which is the corporate background at Procter & Gamble before entrepreneurship. So, and Pramod, Jagdish, Deepika, some of the others at EkStep, we were all together, part of the early team at Aadhaar with, of course, Nandan. So after Aadhaar, think of EkStep as a continuation of that larger idea of population scale transformation of India enabled by technology. Except that was as part of government. This EkStep is a philanthropy. Co-founded by Nandan Nilekani, Rohini Nilekani and myself. With other leaders like Pramod, Jagdish, Deepika, Gaurav, Alok, etc. A lot of whom are also Aadhaar veterans. And it's an operating philanthropy, which means we just don't give grants to others. We operationalize some of it and choose some particular goals and in a mission mode and go after that. So that's EkStep Foundation.
I was just going to ask you this question, but you answered it yourself. So that is the tagline of our podcast. That is, what is the point of EkStep? So can you also elaborate on some of the use cases that you've built and something that you want to build right now with EkStep?
Yeah. So I guess at some level, the point of EkStep Foundation is to catalyze population scale transformation. And some of us have been part of such missions like Aadhaar, UPI, FASTag, etc. So our focus now is broadly in the learning to earning area. So learning defined as early education of children, school education, and then skilling. And then earning is in terms of helping the youth find jobs, the improving the income of farmers in agriculture. It's all earning. So it's a learning to earning continuum. And in the digital world we are in the next 20, 30 years, it won't be first I learn, then I earn. We see the learning earning as a continuous cycle. Everybody will have to be lifelong learners. And the idea of retirement may not be as it was before. Everybody will be lifelong earners. So given India's demographic dividend, we feel we can make the biggest difference by working in this learning to earning continuum.
I think this part that the retirement would also not be something that we imagine how it is right now. Do you think AI is also making a part in this? Because your journey, if you look at your just profile, you started from Aadhaar and now it's AI. So do you think AI is going to change everything, that the economy, everything that is changing? It already is changing.
Actually, I started my life as a brand manager in Procter & Gamble, marketing guy, selling soap. I'm not from the world of technology. And then entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, you learn to do everything. You learn to continuously learn. And then Aadhaar and EkStep. So in some ways, I like to think of it as 4 lives in one lifetime. Each being a different life altogether. Corporate life, the entrepreneur's life, government initiative, and now the development sector. So, and over the last 30 years, obviously, a lot of things have changed. When I started working, having a desktop was a privilege. Slides were actual slides.
Slides.
Those transparent acetates, right? You wrote on them. And fax machines were very common. So from there to see the whole swath of changes to where we are now in AI. But definitely AI is not one more technology. Around 95.
So it is not like the cloud computing or big data.
Closest analogy in my lifetime is in 1995 when internet came about. We realized that something big was happening. And we realized that internet was going to change things. And 30 years later, it has changed a lot of society. But AI, I believe, is not just one more technology like cloud. It's not just a disruptive technology like internet. It's the start of an era, just like electricity. So the closer analogy is likely to be electricity than internet.
Makes sense. So what was your first reaction when you saw this? I mean, you were familiar with AI before, but ChatGPT was brought in and everything changed. So your first reaction was of fear, or did you see that this is a golden era and now it's going to change, is going to happen?
to use the Hindi phrase, my reaction was "Utteri."
Yeah.
The first time I saw it. Right?
Yeah.
In fact, I remember it was 1st December when we woke up and saw what Sam Altman had released, the tweet, etc. And in fact, it was Tanuj who sent out a mail saying that this had happened.
Yeah.
And then Nandan responded to that by saying, hire this bot. Right. So as we saw it, of course, generative AI, etc., all of that came later. But fundamentally, we realized something had changed.
Yeah.
Like the first time I remember holding a BlackBerry and realizing that internet on the move, or pressing a few buttons and ordering Uber online. So there was those moments that you remember, but we didn't realize how big of a leap we had made, but we realized that the world had changed.
Yeah. So this question is a little personal. So when this leap happened, this change happened, why did you decide to start a non-profit? Did you not think that you're from this marketing background, you had a business? Why did you think कि इससे मुझे पैसा नहीं कमाना, I want to do something for the world?
Yeah.
How did that idea come? और अभी आपको नहीं लगता कि शायद पैसे कमा लेने चाहिए थे?
Yeah, वो तो कमा लिया ना marketing. What more?
But this AI boom के साथ.
Yeah. Let me answer that at two levels.
Yeah.
One is I had made my money, I had retired. And then I worked on Aadhaar, right? And then the joy, satisfaction of being able to impact at the scale of a country, right, is a feeling much higher than any amount of money can give you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then continuing that journey as EkStep Foundation. Also, to put it in perspective, when the ChatGPT moment happened, 2023, by then as EkStep, we were already working on AI for language for more than 3 years.
Yeah.
So we saw this as a continuation, and we saw generative AI as a very powerful technology to help in our goals, which is how can you accelerate the development of India? How can you solve for both inclusion? A lot of people don't have access to services, education, health, etc., as well as innovation. Creating the next generation of phone pays, etc. So it's a question of what gives you more kick. More money or more impact. I have a lot of entrepreneurs who have made money. After money, they say, I want to make more impact, right? I have made my money, making impact. Life can't get better. Most importantly, the chance to work with great people, and you have fun doing what you're doing. So that to me is what EkStep is about.
I have an idea as well. So if you can train some AI agents with your own knowledge and everything, maybe you can run a side business and earn money. I mean, just tonight, maybe if you want to. So also you brought up this idea about skilling people and also giving them jobs as well, like training them for jobs. So I think this also is a little bit similar to what people differentiate between AI for India and building AI for Bharat as well. So what is your definition from EkStep's ideology? Are you building for both AI for India, AI for Bharat, or is there more inclination towards something?
At population scale, you have to do both. You have to solve for inclusion and innovation.
Okay.
So otherwise what we realize happens is people end up building inferior technology for inclusion.
Okay.
Right? Saying that the better technology is for those who can afford to pay. Our philosophy is the best technology should be for those who need it the most.
That makes sense.
Right? But do it in a way that the innovators can innovate on top of this. So as Rohini likes to call it, large-scale problems in a diverse country like India needs all three pillars of society to come together. Sarkar, Bazaar, but as important is Samaj, society, right? That is you and me, academia, civil societies, philanthropies. So it's these three pillars when they come together, and each has a specific purpose, right? It's when they come together that not only can you transform, but the transformation can be sustained.
So how is EkStep positioned in this? Is the non-profit ideal that we are following better for building these amazing solutions that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or a for-profit company, an AI startup in India, maybe they can build something better?
Both. To give you an example, Vivek Raghavan worked as chief AI evangelist at EkStep, right? And when the generative AI thing happened, he felt that he could do a better job by doing a startup, right? So he set up Sarvam. That's doing great, right? And likewise, so that's an example of where startup is also important, because startups take the risk. They get funding from the market. Markets will want to put money into something where they have a hope of return. Whereas when you have to work with all three pillars of society, governments, for-profit and not-for-profit, your motive have to be very clear. And in the case of EkStep, everything we do, we spend money. We don't earn anything. Right? So, and it's our own money. That's why it's operational philanthropy. So when we're talking to people, they know that we have nothing to gain from the work we are doing. So we are here to help Sarkar, Bazaar and Samaj do their job better. In some cases, governments cannot take the kind of risk that startups can. Startups won't take the kind of risk if there's no return in it for them. And sometimes Samaj may not have either the capital or the resources to try something. So we therefore have deep philanthropic capital. With that patient capital, we know that sometimes it takes years to see the results of your effort. So we work with government organizations, we work with market players, we work with not-for-profits. And I'll give you a few examples.
But doesn't it delay the process a lot if you're working with so many agreements need to be made? Creating that impact in the end on the larger scale.
So let me give you an example with actual things. In 2015, EkStep was set up in 2015. We set up a goal saying we want to reach 200 million children in India by 2020. By any stretch of imagination, it's quite, right? It's quite ambitious. But we kind of pulled it off because we initially worked with a few state governments. We created technology, worked with a few state governments, understood the requirements. And then the government of India reached out to us for help in creating a platform. We had this technology. That technology, we converted into a public good called Sunbird. We see the Sunbird building blocks. Sunbird was used as the base to build Diksha, which is the government's platform. Government of India offered it to other states. And each state could decide which local NGO partner they wanted to work with to create content. So as EkStep, we just built the core technology.
Makes sense,
We didn't build the content. We were not, it was not ours. But this collaboration actually allows you to travel greater distances. Your question, I'm framing it as, if you have all of these agreements, won't it be slow? As it might appear slow in the beginning.
But the impact would be very large scale as soon as it starts.
Because we don't have the distribution, Government of India has. We don't have the trust, it's the state departments which has, right? The teachers are being paid for by them. So if it's a question of we complement each other. But more than the agreement, what takes time is the building of trust.
So was there also on this, so all these criticism that keeps coming from the West as well, and even the Indian government, I don't want to take names, we are not building any deep tech technology in India, and all we are doing is fancy ice cream startups. So what is your take on that? Because even if we think about AI right now, I mean, not my belief, but people will say that we are not building anything foundational right now in India. So what do you think is holding us back?
This whole thing of should we build foundational model versus other options. My personal belief is you should build on your foundations. Right? And a building is only constructed when it is built on its own foundations.
Okay.
And not on what others think are others' foundation.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Foundational LLMs, they're foundational for a reason.
Yeah.
But India has a strong foundation of people. Yeah. It has a strong foundation of digital public infrastructure. It has a strong foundation of 1 billion plus people impacted by technology,
yeah,
which is government implemented through government programs.
Yeah.
That's our foundation.
Makes sense.
So do we abandon that and say, no, it's like you are 3-1 up in a football match,
yeah,
and you will say, no, let's play in the next ground.
Yeah.
But it's not that we should not build foundational models, right? It takes effort. You will get it wrong the first time.
We don't need to. I mean, it's not a race, as people would like to say in some.
Yeah. See, at some point it might become a race.
Yeah.
But think about it. We are not the biometric device capital of the world.
Okay.
But we are the biometric use case capital of the world.
That's nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's our lived experience that you can start when you become a use case capital that gives you more leverage as you go down this way. Ideally, you should go down up the other way.
Yeah.
Right? But India's digital public infrastructure is years ahead of even the United States.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have an advantage in that regard. Should we forsake that advantage? The answer is no. But does it mean that we focus only on the advantage? Answer again is no.
Okay.
But whoever is working on foundational models,
yeah,
they would know that it's not a 6-month effort. It's not a 1-year effort.
Yeah.
India has reached where it is in 2025 because of a 40 to 50 year consistent effort of upgrading its skills.
Yeah.
We started with IT services, then moved to products. Now we're doing R&D.
Yeah.
We're getting better and better and better. Our talent is working on tougher and tougher problems. We're working on fab.
Yeah.
A semiconductor fab. We don't make semiconductors, right? That doesn't mean we should not make semiconductors. Efforts are underway.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that until that comes, we don't use semiconductors.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Both have to be done.
Yeah.
Right. And both are equally difficult.
Yeah, makes sense. So also, this brings us to this question, the digital public infrastructure, right? I think Nandan sir also keeps talking about this, DPI to the power of AI. So what exactly does it mean? Can you elaborate a little bit?
I'll give you, again, specific example. 1.4 billion people in this country have Aadhaar. When you add AI there, have you used DigiYatra?
Yeah.
That's because AI has been added to Aadhaar.
Okay.
It recognizes from your retina, and your face structure.
Yeah.
Face structure. It says, okay, this is.
Just last month, I was speaking with Suresh from DigiYatra, and he was also talking about the facial recognition that you use.
Yeah.
For Aadhaar.
That's AI added to Aadhaar.
Yeah.
Right. Now you have UPI. NPCI is working on voice-enabled transactions.
Yeah.
So, मेरे पिताजी को 200 रुपया भेज दो in Indian languages. So AI being added to DPI. What has happened there? DPI has become much bigger, much better, much more impactful, right? So because of AI, DPI is improved.
Yeah.
But because of DPI, AI has already reached 1.4 billion people in India.
Yeah.
Aadhaar.
Yeah.
So AI will reach corners of this country faster because of DPI has laid the roads.
It's laid the foundation, yeah.
If a country does not have DPI, it's only AI.
Yeah.
But when a country like India has strong DPI, when AI meets DPI, it is not DPI plus AI.
Yeah.
It's DPI to the power of AI. Because AI has been taken to all corners of the country by DPI.
Yeah.
And DPI has been made much stronger because of AI. So as a result, the society starts to see the power of AI.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think this is also I think it's an Indian philosophy as well. I think we should appreciate it as well, because this is like not a product focused thing, because Indians are not so ready with getting used to products immediately, like ChatGPT. People don't want to go to ChatGPT immediately. If you can build it as a service within Aadhaar, like the voice thing that you were saying, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I won't say we are not comfortable with products. WhatsApp is a product, right?
Yeah.
It's just how is it designed. And at EkStep, we have a design philosophy called "Is it plus one?"
Okay.
Which
can
means
you expand on it? How?
Yeah, plus one means it's radical, yet it's practical.
Okay.
Plus one means it is mind-opening, yet it kind of feels familiar. I'll give an example of how we use this design principle. So when we were working on Diksha, the idea was putting QR codes in pages, which you can use to then get digital content, right? Theoretically, we could have used AI and you don't need QR codes.
Yeah, okay.
Theoretically, you don't need textbooks also. You have an app, right? But as we analyzed consumer usage patterns, behaviors, what they are capable of doing, not capable of doing, we realized that textbooks become a massive distribution tool.
Yeah.
Textbooks are highly trusted. And QR codes, by then, people have started getting familiar with.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, 2 out of the 3 things were familiar to people. Textbooks, QR codes. The ability to scan a QR code to get digital content connected to the topic of your choice was an aha.
Yeah.
But through a useful medium like QR code, through a trusted source like textbook, even WhatsApp.
Yeah.
We were familiar with SMS before. So WhatsApp was nothing but free SMS.
Yeah.
And to which you could talk also.
Yeah.
So when we think of a disruptive product, ChatGPT might be in a way disruptive, but oftentimes it's an evolution of something. And coming back to your point on product, people use what they find useful.
So when will we have a product company then from India coming, like something going global? Maybe the Nvidia, Google.
PhonePe is, why would you not consider PhonePe?
PhonePe is, yeah. Okay.
Right? I mean, whole fintech, we have so many industries.
Yeah.
We have so many companies in fintech, right? There's so many product companies within 3-4 kilometers of here.
Yeah.
Right? People ask me this question, when will we see a Google out of India? I would ask, when will we see Aadhaar out of US?
That is a fair question. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We have our strengths, they have their strengths.
Yeah.
It's just that it will take us some time to, maybe the next Google is not a Google.
Makes sense. So my next question, I think it doesn't make sense now, because my next question was, when will we have the Aadhaar moment for AI in India?
I find this funny. When we used to work on Aadhaar, it was not called Aadhaar, right?
Yeah.
So what do you call that? You can't call something which doesn't exist.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but when UPI came, the question was, when is the Aadhaar moment of payment? That's when Nandan in 2016 had a talk. He called it the WhatsApp moment of payment is round the corner.
Okay. Yeah.
It was August 2016. UPI was just launched 3-4 months before.
Yeah.
Demonetization was November that year. So now everything is the UPI moment. Before that, 10 years ago, it was the Uber of this.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't believe in the Aadhaar of finance payment. You go ahead and create UPI.
Okay.
So the UPI of AI, I don't care. We'll create something that will become the global that of AI.
Makes sense.
So UPI is not the Stripe of India.
Okay, yeah.
Right? If you want to solve India problems, and what excites me personally is, given the talent we see, given the range of problems we have in India, and as Nandan mentioned in his talk a few months ago, we have around 100,000 entrepreneurs now, 150,000. That number is expected to go to 1 million by 2035. So 1 million out of 1.5 billion people, 1 out of 1,500 is going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They will solve whatever problems they solve, right? In a society by 2035, which is digital, if you've solved in India, there's a high chance that you can solve it in other parts of the country. Nobody saw Flipkart coming out of India in 2005, right?
Yeah.
Nobody saw PhonePe coming out of India in 2011. So every generation builds on the shoulders of the previous generation. And by generation, I mean 5 years here in this case. So, but what is exciting in India is a whole bunch of entrepreneurs who have been successful, who have sold, who are now in turn funding other startups, whole bunch of VCs. VCs have got returns from their funding.
Yeah.
The number of entrepreneurs being unleashed, no thanks to Shark Tank and other things which have made entrepreneurship glamorous. We will see more and more people, youngsters from all parts of India, solving problems that are local to them.
Okay. I think just today, this is a good point, because just today I think Kunal Shah from Cred posted that the freshers that are coming out of college won't have jobs. That's why they'll start their own companies and solve problems.
Yeah.
So do you think that is happening soon? And do you think AI can help in that in any way for making a single person company, maybe a 10-person company?
AI will definitely help.
Yeah.
But it's also the question of what can AI do, right? If you look at AI can solve the language problem. AI can solve the coding related stuff. AI can give you all kinds of assistants, right? And we're only looking at one part AI.
Yeah.
But when AI meets sensors, meets other technologies, biotechnology, right? Quantum computing. Oftentimes people see a line and they make a linear projection, right? That line starts to get exponential. And that line meets other lines and completely gets transformed.
Okay.
So while AI will definitely help that 1 or 2 person, it doesn't mean that we will have the number of unicorns we produce which will be much faster.
Okay.
But there will also be a long tail of entrepreneurs who are very happy in being an entrepreneur in their respective area. They may not want to come to Bangalore and face the traffic, right? They're very happy being in Jabalpur, Ranchi, wherever their home, and doing their startup there.
Why did you choose Bangalore for EkStep?
No, we were all living in Bangalore for 2000, right?
Yeah.
But for my startup in 2000, we chose Bangalore because it had a lot of analytical talent.
Okay.
Right. But by 2015, we were all Bangaloreans.
Okay. Yeah.
All of us are, and we're all working together. So that's also there. Bangalore is where a lot of innovation happens. We can't solve for our traffic yet, but we can solve for a lot of other problems.
Makes sense. So also following up on the previous point that so we can maybe build something like PhonePe went out of here, Flipkart is going global. Do you think there's anything very particular, specific that we can learn from the West when it comes to building products in India?
Yeah, great question. See, the way they design products, the good ones, they start with a deep consumer understanding. Okay. It's not necessarily only from engineering, right? Some of the best product folks, including Steve Jobs, are not engineers, right? They understand technology, but what they have a better sense of is consumer preferences, consumer needs. That's one thing. By the way, product management as a term came from the company I used to work for back in the day, Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
Procter & Gamble, marketing company, had product managers or brand managers. Silicon Valley looked at that.
Oh, okay.
And that's how the term product management came into Silicon Valley. Okay. So that's one thing. Second, there are a lot of, it's again the evolution, right? The massive support ecosystem, which they've had for 50 years. That ecosystem we don't have.
Okay.
Third, a failed entrepreneur in India is still not yet, though it's much better than a decade or two ago, is not yet something one is proud of.
Yeah.
Right? Not so in the US.
Yeah.
Next is scale. their attitude to scale, somehow are able to scale much faster. It could also be because more funding and more bigger risk appetite. And lastly, I think because of the evolved ecosystem, they're able to spot an idea much before we can. And so in some sense, we are still following them on that. What is popular in the US is what becomes idea here that entrepreneurs chase.
I think maybe you can create a very good product because of your background in marketing and all these things.
Yeah, but again, at EkStep, it's always team effort.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does give you an instinctive understanding that sometimes the best product is not the one with the most technology.
Yeah.
It's the one which has the highest probability of user adoption.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the +1 thinking.
+1 thinking, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And the last point, as I reflect on your question, I've interacted with a lot of tech entrepreneurs in Bangalore.
Yeah.
In my time at iSpirit and holding workshops for them, those were roundtables we used to have. One thing I realized is when an entrepreneur is strong in technology, they're very proud of what they build. They start with what the technology is about.
Okay.
But a good product person or a good marketing person would start with how that product will change the consumer or the user's life.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, is that book great because it has 80 GSM paper? Or is it because you can store years worth of memories and ideas there, right?
Yeah.
If you, from a technology person, they'll talk about how the product was made, why it is great paper, right? But from a marketing point of view or a business point of view, they'll say that, look, this allows you to capture your ideas. Your ideas are worth $1 million.
Yeah.
Won't you want to pay 100 rupees for this? Right? That is getting better over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
But that is one thing that, in a way, US entrepreneurs are expected to have. In Bangalore, oftentimes I've seen technology as a badge of pride.
Yeah.
Right? And many entrepreneurs have built great technology, but had to shut down because they wouldn't get funding.
Is it like over-engineering a product when it's not needed?
Over-engineering is one of the symptoms of that.
Okay.
But the cause is technology will solve.
Okay.
Right? And not paying attention to the consumer and what they value.
So is there any flaw in UPI that you find maybe that can end it, or maybe a better product after UPI?
Let's think of it as the next version of UPI.
Okay.
Right? And that's where AI can help, which is, for me, it's again the evolution of consumer tastes, right?
Yeah.
Do you use DigiYatra?
Yeah.
Do you find using a paper cumbersome?
Not necessarily, but yeah, DigiYatra makes it more comfortable. Yeah.
More comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So imagine for UPI, you have to press a few buttons and transfer it.
Yeah.
If you can speak, that's one way.
Yeah.
Second is, I don't think we have fully exploited the potential of UPI.
Yeah.
There are many other use cases, right? And over time, we will be seeing some of that. So, from a technology point of view, the AI can help take UPI to the next level.
Yeah.
From a use case point of view, there are many other use cases which can happen using UPI as a component. And I think the next set of entrepreneurs will find some use cases. They may not be relevant for 100 million people.
Yeah.
A good example of that is FASTag.
FASTag, yeah.
Can also be used for car parking. Right?
Yeah.
Again, an example of infrastructure that can be used for different use cases.
Yeah.
Innovators can come on top of that and innovate.
I think even Paytm, PhonePe are also good examples of it, if you can think.
Yeah. And what Paytm did with the payment box.
Yeah.
Small thing on top of that, right? Anything can always be improved. But UPI has been a phenomenal success. Anybody who has come to India, they just find it hard to believe how ubiquitous it is and how it has solved for both innovation and inclusion, and how it has triggered many more use cases than originally intended.
So I think there's some quote from someone which says that any end goal of a good technology is for it to be invisible. So I think UPI is also headed that way with voice.
Yeah.
Do you think Aadhaar is also can be headed that way, that we won't need a physical ID or we won't need a digital ID as well?
Yeah. The quote doesn't say, it says it becomes invisible. It doesn't say it is not needed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The difference is it becomes such a part of our life.
Yeah.
We don't think of it as technology.
Yeah.
What I'm wearing 500 years ago was cutting edge technology, ocular technology, ability to see better. Television was fancy technology. So what happens after some time, when you say it becomes invisible, we don't think of it as technology. It becomes a part of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? What you're wearing is clothing technology.
Yeah.
Right? And this is speaking technology.
Yeah.
So good technology, when it becomes ubiquitous, becomes invisible.
Okay. For example, the Meta VR glasses and all, people say cameras are not now invisible, they're in your eyes.
Yeah. So you feel odd.
Yeah.
Right? And typically, it's been, research has shown that it's only when the adoption of the technology reaches something like 80%, does it become ubiquitous.
Okay.
So Aadhaar is at whatever, 95-6% plus, right?
Yeah.
So Aadhaar is not technology. Aadhaar is just Aadhaar.
Aadhaar, yeah.
Right. And UPI is just UPI now.
So a lot of conversation that is going on right now is as we are entering into this digital workplace where AI agents are also going to work with us. Maybe Aadhaar would not be the right identity for a human being. Well, how do we identify between a bunch of AI agents that are working in the workplace?
See, Aadhaar is what is called as foundational identity.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have a Gmail ID. You have a driver license.
Yeah.
You will have possibly your employee ID, right? Those are functional IDs.
Yeah.
So foundational identity just is there to establish you are who you say you are, Shankar Maruwada, right? Whereas your employee ID has other information, gives you some entitlements, some privileges or whatever. So Aadhaar being with 1.4 billion plus people doesn't mean in every aspect of their life they should use Aadhaar.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, ideally they should not use Aadhaar. They should be using the functional IDs.
Yeah. But will we need a separate ID? Like I think Sam Altman from OpenAI was also making that world coin thing, the world eye thing.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that.
Yeah.
As in, ideas come and go.
Yeah.
But the one ID is for everything. There are downsides to it beyond a certain scale.
Yeah.
It's not advisable.
Okay.
It's not advisable.
Okay.
It's like you're just putting all your eggs in one basket. It's not advisable.
Yeah, it can be a little risky as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
a
good idea.
So what is your favorite use case of AI? Your personal favorite use case of AI? If you were not building EkStep, what would you be focusing on? Like with a personal...
Yeah. If I were not building EkStep, I think something in the travel space.
Okay.
Because travel and related things is intensely personal.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And someone who knows me, who can then do the basic things, research for me, and then make the bookings for me, that would be, but it could also be an elitist thing. So it again, personally for me, that is helpful.
Yeah.
Because then you're not looking at which place to go, where to stay, what to do, airline, seat, paying a premium for this versus that. Because you're doing this again and again and again.
Yeah.
Right. So good agent who understands. That's how I use ChatGPT or Perplexity quite a bit, which is I see 3 or 4 articles.
Yeah.
Right. And say,
summarize it and make sense.
Not summarize. that's where it can get dangerous. Then it's not, you are becoming artificially intelligent.
Yeah.
The machine has a real one. What I do is I read it, develop a point of view, right? And use ChatGPT to test my point of view versus that.
Okay. Makes sense.
It's more like a sparring partner, right? Rather than a butler who's doing all your work.
So that is your favorite use?
Yeah, because it helps me get better.
Okay.
So it's, I guess, if you're taking the easy way out and making AI do your work, at some point, AI will do your work.
Yeah.
But if you're using it to get better at what you are doing, right, in a way that AI can't do, then do you use AI to box for you?
Yeah. Do you think people right now who are using AI are using it for good reasons? Good reasons as in they're using it well enough right now for them to upskill themselves, at least in India?
Was too generic a question. There might be, I will know. But I know that...
Like the use case that you gave, like you gave your perspective and you ask and you spar with the problem. Do you think people are right now, like are they that habituated with AI right now that they are just working along with it?
I'm sure some people are.
Yeah.
I mean, it writes code for them and all of that. But see, it'll take a generation or 10 years for people to try out various things. Some work, some... As it is, we know that kids use it to do homework. College students use it to do homework, right? Is that good? I don't think so. But some part of it has to be good, which is what would have taken 2 months of research, if that can be done in a day or half a day. But the moment people are outsourcing their thinking, the research, I can understand. The moment people are outsourcing their decision making, people outsourcing their logic creation, that is when a scaffolding can become a crutch very quickly.
Okay. So, and all these people who are working in India right now in IT firms and all these firms, they are also very afraid of layoffs right now because of AI. So do you have any advice for them, or do you think that jobs are going to change, or how is it going to go on 5 years from now?
First is, over the last 100 years, jobs are changing. You have to continuously learn and reskill yourself. So the way to do that is not to escape from AI, but to understand what AI can do and start doing what AI can't do, which is
higher order thinking.
Higher order thinking, empathy, right? The sales, closing sales, customer service, experiential stuff, what in education is called as 21st century skills. Ironically, as technology gets better, some of the core human values will become more important.
So, okay. So I have a few questions that are from some of my colleagues in office. They wanted to ask you this. So it's basically, what's the point of this? What's the point?
Okay.
So, so to start with, what's the point of journalism in AI?
If you are using AI to regurgitate what everyone else is doing, you are no better than the journalist next door. Right? If not now, sooner, right? Your salary will start reducing. Because somebody will come and says, I will do Mohit's job at half the price. Somebody will say, I will do at 1/10 the price. Then ultimately AI will say, I'll do it at no cost. So there's a downward spiral. But the upward spiral is, can I use that to connect some dots which previously could not be connected because it required too much of research.
Okay. Makes sense.
Can I understand what are people thinking about? Can I use AI to analyze and figure out what kind of topics are people interested in? Right? The idea of a sparring partner, the idea of a research partner, the idea of an assistant, as opposed to the idea of someone do all the research, write for me and finish it off.
Okay. The next one is, what's the point of regulations in AI?
The point of regulations in AI is the same as the point of regulations for traffic.
Okay.
It keeps us safe. Right? Imagine if we didn't have traffic rules and regulations. Any disruptive technology, historically, electricity, anything, right?
Yeah.
Guns.
Yeah.
They always need regulation. Regulation, very simply, is safe usage of the technology in a way that does not harm individuals, groups, society, or planet.
Okay. So I just an add-up question on that. How do we, do you think there's such a big existential threat because of AI or any of these technologies? What do you think might happen?
It's too above my limit of imagination.
Okay.
But experienced people, some of them are saying it can.
Yeah.
Because and we must have a kill switch on it.
Okay.
Right? Humans at every point must have a kill switch on any technology that is as potentially as powerful as this.
Makes sense.
When it's the first technology that can think and act.
Yeah, and reason as well.
Yeah. Think, reason, act, take feedback, improve, and create. We have not created any technology like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes
In
sense.
some sense, the splitting of the atom is the analogy that people are referring to when they say that it could end the world.
Okay.
Because we have created something which has more energy than we can fathom, right?
Yeah.
And AI also. We are thinking of AI as it is now.
Yeah.
It's a baby crawling.
Yeah.
It's when it becomes big, when autonomous agents come in, when they can initiate, when they can interface with the physical world, launch things.
Do you think Terminator-like scenario is possible?
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah.
But whoever made Terminator saw some things, right? And we're already seeing some bots.
Yeah.
We as human beings think we're very wise, but we can be tripped by the smallest of things. Better safe than sorry. There's a reason we have insurance.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you can. What's the point of Indic AI and open source AI?
Yeah. A lot of our transactions and all of our communication and interactions happen through language.
Yeah.
We need a common language. If we don't, that common language is English or Hindi.
Yeah.
And that's not the language of the majority.
Yeah.
So why should I be disadvantaged for not knowing English or Hindi?
Yeah.
And how can it prevent me from participating in society, from participating in economic activities, especially in a digital era, where I would want to speak to someone, I would want to transact with someone who's not in my locality. Indic AI is important from that point of view.
Yeah.
But to do it, we can't rely on big tech idea of Indic AI.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of fundamental investment. That's why as EkStep Foundation, we have funded AI for Bharat to collect this data. And a lot of startups and government and other organizations are using it. Because the nuance of the language is very, very important. And the nuance varies from dialect to dialect. It varies from sector, health to education. And it varies by age group, by gender.
Yeah.
It's important to capture all of this. And when you're talking of the scale of India, 1.5 billion people, the languages in India, Indic AI is extremely important for us.
Yeah. So the last question from our team is, what's the point of autonomous vehicles in Bangalore?
Absolutely no point. Especially when a car can become a boat because of rain.
So do we need autonomous boats then?
We need more like transformer bots where a boat can become a car. No, we just need autonomous roads.
Autonomous roads.
Okay. Without potholes.
Yeah.
Right? With things functioning. And but again, the number of people have increased so much in Bangalore. There's a limit to physical infrastructure, what it can take.
Yeah.
Autonomous vehicles in Bangalore, maybe 30 years away.
Okay. So at least 30 years away,
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah.
As it is, things are bad enough.
Yeah.
A vehicle without anybody inside.
Yeah.
As it is, we have some crazy accidents.
Yeah.
We don't need one more.
Makes sense. Okay. So That was very insightful, Shankar. Thank you so much for giving us the time to talk to you. And also, before we go, I just want to make a very bad joke, and it's a question as well. What's the second step?
For EkStep, the second step is actually, as a small group of people, the impact of our work has reached tens and hundreds of millions of people, mostly in education, but now in agriculture. The second step is more of this in more sectors, helping more organizations and in countries beyond India, all again through partner organizations. So the second step for EkStep is EkStep's impact going to more and more people through partners and reaching billions more people.
I think it's the analogy that you gave about DPI to the power of and laying a foundation as well. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much for your time, Shankar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohit.
Thank you.